I'm so excited to teach you Patanjali. What is real? What is unreal? This is what we're going to talk about today. What is real? What is unreal? Why are we so blocked when we are on this earth to believe this is the reality when this is just another dream? When you're dreaming, you're really in the dream. Any of you have lucid dreams? When you know your dreams and... Oh, you don't? Yes, some of you do, right? And you really believe you're in that dream. You really believe. But then what happened to you in that dream when you woke up? You're a different person. And this is what Sri Patanjali, the science of Sri Patanjali, and it is a science. And he's saying, when you follow these things, guess what happens? It's a roadmap to your spirit, to who you really are. So when you know who you really are, and you really understand this is unreal, with time, as Master Shivananda would say, I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. Say it again, you see how good you are? Not this body, I'm not this mind, immortal self I am. And then you remember, I'm immortal. So good comes, bad comes, ups, downs. You got it, this is the world we live in. Be strict with yourself, don't be such a baby. Things go wrong. Right? Tell yourself, I used to tell myself in my early years, don't be such a baby over this small thing. You're making so much fuss in my early days of practice. You're being so petty. What are you doing with your mind? And then you're blaming the world for your own thoughts. Think bigger. As you think, again and again, watch that. If you think the world is going to collapse, what will happen? It will collapse. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Then we blame God, we blame everybody else. Well, it was meant to collapse, you see, for you to get so dark that you get so sick and tired of being in a dark place that you want light. And then you look for your soul. And then you search for that light. And then that's the point when you realize you cannot find it through anything outside. Now the only place left is, who am I? What is the real? What is the unreal? And that's the discovery. Discover yourself. There are too many sideshows these days, okay? You need to knock those sideshows. There's no fast route. Everybody's talking about plant medicine these days and take ayahuasca and take this. I'm not saying anything, but I'm just warning you. Your nervous system has to be very strong to do these things. You have to be very grounded. Now, the people who do these things are not grounded. They're suffering. Now, if you are suffering and then you take something, it will magnify in you. So the trauma that was already bad becomes bigger. Then the next thought will be, I saw my trauma and it's so bad and it's so bad. And yes, it is so bad, but we need to find a way out to make it easier for ourselves. One has to be quite sensible, grounded in life to be spiritual, and really understand what spiritual means. Really understand, what is spirit to you? What is spirit to you? Please be clear, because if you are very clear, then you won't be tempted by all the unnecessary things in your life. You will just, okay, does this serve for me? Serve, love, give, meditate, purify, realize, do good, be kind. This for me is spiritual. All the rest, does it make you all these things? You have to ask that question to yourself. It's your journey. What is your journey? And if you get confused, please, again and again, I advise you to read the lives of the spiritual masters, because it's so clear. It's so clear. They just did good. They served their life for others. And they didn't believe they were serving their lives for others. It was natural. So when you clean your mind, which is what the whole sutras are about. When you do that, then whatever mission that you are meant to do in this life will come to you, because your channel is pure, it's clear. The tap, the faucet, the tap, the pipes are clean. When the pipes are blocked, nothing can enter. Can't enter. Our pipes are our nervous system. The nadis, we call it. The chakras, we call it. They're just names for this. So this is the electrical system in our body. But if it's all clogged up with emotions, then, and it's mostly the emotions are to do with poor me syndrome. Why me? How can this happen to me? In order to have this, I have to be happy. If you look at it, it all starts from the me syndrome. So you realize we weren't born just for me, we were born because for each other. But Sri Patanjali leads us to that journey. So we'll start with the Sri Patanjali chant. Yogena chittasya padena vachan malam sharirasa cha vaidyakena yo pakaruttam praravam muninam Patanjali pranjali ranatosmi. I bow to the noblest of sage, Sri Patanjali, who gave yoga for the sanctity and serenity of mind, grammar for purity and clarity of speech, and medicine for perfection in health. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And that's what he gave many of us in our lives. So we started last week with Sutra 1. Now the exposition of yoga is being made. Now the instruction of yoga is being made. Sutra 2, I'd like you all to repeat with me again. Yogas, chitta, vritti, nirodha. The restraints of the modification of the mind stuff is yoga. So we explained what yoga meant, which is union with lower self with the higher self. Man with God. People with consciousness. The one consciousness, the one whole. The merging into oneness, whatever you want to call it. But it is the connection. Is the spiritual connection, is the channeling, is the feeling of one, is the feeling of wholeness that you feel in yourself. This is yoga. And then chitta, we talked about it, which is the sum total of who we are, our ego, the I in you, and then the manas, the thinking aspect, and then the buddhi, which is the intellectual aspect. So the more educated your buddhi is, your intellect is, the better your decisions will be. So this is the yoga science study. Let's educate this buddhi to the direction to the real. Lead us from the unreal to the real. To that knowledge, let us know that we are really, truly impermanent in this body. You know that, right? We are impermanent. So lead us to what is permanent, which never dies. None of us die, you know that. Isn't that interesting? Don't you feel happy when you know that? We don't die. It's just like going from one door to another door, this dream to another dream. When we get to the other dream, we come back, oh, why was I so upset? And I love my father's words to me. He said, now, don't think there's heaven or hell. Heaven and hell are in this world. Karma is in this world. As you sow, you reap. After this, there's only love. And many planets. So if your mind is disturbed, you will go to the planet of the disturbed. Because you can't exist in a certain place till you grow internally. So heaven and hell are here. It's already in here, right? It really is in here. And that is the exciting thing about the practice. So chitta contains all these things and the thoughts. So what stops us from knowing ourselves is our thought patterns. So that is Sutra 2. And it talks about learning to watch it, what you don't need, push back, understand why you think these useless thoughts. I think it's really important to do that. Contemplate. Why do I have these crazy thoughts in my mind? And you will find it comes to from your ego. Oh, how could this person do this to me? How can you speak to me like that? The whole world is based around I, me, and mine. Watch it. When I learned that, I really freaked out. I didn't know I was so selfish. I really didn't. It was scary for me. That's why they say when you take this path, take it easy, take it slowly, because as the consciousness shows you who your personality ego is and what the consciousness is, then you realize there's so much work to do here, in here, and you won't waste your time because life is so short. It's so short. You won't waste your time with nonsense or things that don't mean anything. That are so trivial. You won't debate. Do you see? This is the solidity yogis need, so that you don't get disturbed. Oh, you believe that? I don't believe that. Truth is one. And then you're peaceful. How easy division makes us feel diseased. But when we join together, we feel at ease. And that's the secret. What's causing me this disease? What's causing me this pain? Because we create divisions and judgments. So anyway, so that's Nirodha. And then the third sutra, let's move forward. Tadadrastui swarupe vastanam. What does that mean? Then the seer abides in its own true nature. Because when you start to restrain the thought patterns, in time, with meditation, with all the practices he gives us throughout this book, what happens? The mind becomes less cluttered. It just becomes less cluttered. You know, when you're worried, it becomes so cluttered. When you can't make a decision, should I do this, it becomes so cluttered. The day goes too quickly because there's too much stress when you worry. And then you feel sick, you get stomach aches, you get all this kind of problem, too scattered. But with the practice, and then you know why you're practicing, not just meditating to meditate. Why are you meditating? You need to know why. For me, I wanted to know God while I was alive. I felt it was too late when I died. So I had no choice. I've got very short time on this earth, no time to waste. And for me, it was confusing, this image of God. It was confusing until my master said, what did he say? So many of you know. Make peace your God. Do not even allow God to disturb that peace. And then you read the Upanishads. Everywhere the Lord of Love, no larger than the thumb, lives in the hearts of all. Like two birds on the self-same tree, the ego and the self. Two birds on one tree. One is the ego, one is the higher self. The ego eats the fruit of the tree while the other one just watches peacefully. This is the one we want to connect with. So we can eat the fruits of the tree, and that way when you can watch yourself, you understand, okay, I will eat the fruit that is good for me. Oh, sometimes I'll eat the sour, but there will be no addiction. There'll be no addiction. I can eat it and I can let it go. I can enjoy this and let it go. I can have fun and let it go. I can have pain and let it go. I can have worry and I can let it go, because I'm really just the watcher enjoying this play that is my own movie. My own movie. I have that choice. That is so freeing. Not to blame anyone is so freeing, because it gives, as Louise Hayes would say, it empowers you. You don't give your power away. Nobody can take it away from you. Yes, you'll feel the pain of hurt when somebody causes you pain, but the divine's in you, and you know what? I still have my power. And when people have that faith, they can overcome anything. Anything. You hear stories of, mothers, maybe somebody's caught under the car in an accident, suddenly they got this strength and they lift the car out. You must have heard all these stories and all these miracles. It's true, because the power of love, literally, the power of love, when you're so focused on that power of love, you can do anything. Because you're in contact with the power that is the highest. Is the highest. We're not talking about superficial love. And this is the next sutra that we'll be talking about in a little while. So then, when you live in this higher self, then you live in a world when everything is filled with synchronicity. Everything. You do one thing, oh, I know why this happened to me, because this was going to happen to me. So nothing is bad or good. It's just one event creates another event, creates another event, and creates another event. And then you understand. Now I understand why, the saints say the plan is perfect. What is not perfect is our minds. We stress. I want it my way. It has to be this way. It's not, my friend. You can kick at it and scream at it and cry at it. It is as it is. I learned that great lesson when my husband was dying. No amount of prayers, no amount of crying. I just knew it is as it is. So what do you do in this horrible place? You just give peace. You just give peace to the person who's suffering. It's not about you, Nalanie. It's about the person who is suffering. You see? And then you get a great force. You get a great energy coming through you. So strong. That's the self. That's the self. The seer abides in its own true nature. So all the practices that we do, just to lead us to this point. And then we live like everybody else. We're no different. We're just everybody else. The only thing is you're a little bit more free. You're a little less bothered. It is what it is. What to do? This is life. What can I do? This person hates me. What can I do? This person says, what can I do? Love them anyway, but from a distance. Be wise. Love them anyway, from a distance. And what I tell myself in the early days, especially with the practice, their mind is sick, but they are beautiful. They just don't know it. But their minds are sick. It's their minds that are sick. Nobody is bad. It's the minds that are sick. And when your mind is sick, look at your behavior. It's so easy when you know, when your behavior is, I'm fearful, I'm this, I'm that. Uh-oh, my mind is sick. I'll come someplace where I can lift it up. I can come someplace. Then after a while, you do the practices. You don't need to go anywhere. As soon as your mind's sick, you sit down, you chant, or you'll do whatever. You will know all the tools that helps you personally. Maybe reading Patanjali again and again. I got a call from, when was it, Hong Kong the other day. Oh, Nalanie, I've fallen. Oh, no problem. Start to read Patanjali again. I've forgotten about my Patanjali. Take it up and it'll all come back. A few days later, I'm back. Do you see? You have the tools. It's okay to get lost, but it's so nice to have the tools to get back. And that's all we can do, have the tools to get back. And when you do it for yourself, what does that make you feel? empowered, because then you know that you are not alone. You are not alone. That there is this God, I call it God, call it whatever you want, is within you all the time. All the time. And that's why. And then the seer abides. You live with that knowledge. Abides in its own true nature. Because that's who you are. And you know it. There is nothing, but there's everything. And those are the moments that you feel just, I don't know, it just charges you. When this is not so busy, your body's charged with the medicine, as Sri Patanjali says, the medicine for the perfection of health. And the serenity and sanctity of the mind. Just be in your heaven. St. Paul, the body is your temple. There it is. You're in your temple. So what do you have to do? Make it whole. That's where the word holy comes from. Whole. So make it holy to become whole again. And then Sutra 4. At other times, the self appears to assume the forms of the mental modification. Here he's just saying, when you are not in yoga, you think you are your thoughts. So if somebody comes and calls you ugly or stupid or fat or too thin or this, you think you are that. You forget that you are more than that. You identify with your body. You identify with your emotions. You identify with your thoughts too much. So there's a lovely Sanskrit story. There was a man on the road, lying down on the road. So somebody passes, yucks. Why is he sleeping in the forest in the middle of the road? He must be a drunken. Goes away. Another man comes. Oh my God, he must be a gambler, lost all his money, sleeping on the floor. Goes. Third one comes. Oh, he must be sick. I better not go near him. Walks away. Fourth one comes. Oh, he must be a holy man sleeping in the forest. Let me bow at his feet. Who is he? It was each one's perception of that man lying down. So the perception comes from our minds. We don't know. And the perception other people have of us comes from their minds. And yet when they say certain things that we know are not true, we take them to be true, identify with them, and then react to it. But if you just sit and think, when that's happening to you, when somebody is saying these things about you that are not true, you know it's not true. Stay there, or you will believe them. And then it'll drive you nuts. Did I really do this? Did I do this? Nalanie, am I really a bad person? The amount of people coming to me with guilt. Guilt. We've all done things wrong. We need to forgive ourselves. How do you move forward? If you can't forgive yourself, how are you ever going to forgive anybody else? Oh, but I did a terrible thing. And everybody knows I've done a terrible thing. But you're sorry for it. Why are you punishing yourself again and again? That's why you're getting sick and sick and more sick and more sick and more sick. Gotta let it go. We all make mistakes. We all have failures. Every failure is a stepping stone towards success. Yes. So when you fall, go, wow, when's the next success coming? And when you think like that, that's yoga. That we call this, later on, Sri Patanjali explains it, Nirodha Parinama. At that point, your thought pattern has really changed. It's automatic now because you work so hard on the meditation, on purifying your mind, that automatically somebody punches you. You don't even have to try. It's automatic. And that's when you know something is changing in you. So you transform, as St. Francis says, where there's hatred, let me bring. Where there's darkness, let me bring. And that's what it is. But it's not because you have to, but there is something in your soul that doesn't allow you to do anything else. Because now you know deep inside that we're all one. So this is when the mind transforms itself, and that gives you a lot of peace and freedom and closure in your life. And then life works for you, life looks after you, but you got to keep the practice up because it's very easy to fall down that hole again. All right, so that's why he says, Sri Patanjali, he says, at other times you assume to take the thoughts of your mind, so realize that you could slip, realize this happens, and know that when you're doing that, you just lost the connection. You lost the connection. And I love the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, Yoga of Devotion. It says, you cannot connect if you are full of fear, guilt, and worry. Who is the person that connects? The one who forgives, the one who lets go, the one who's all those things. And you think, oh dear God, can I really become all that? But if you do the practice, you don't even have to become all that. It will take you up. That energy will take you up, whether you like it or not. You don't have a choice. You just don't have a choice anymore. How do you do this? Because when you get this science, you get all these messages and you feel like you're just a channel answering messages. But it's so much fun. And this is the synchronicity of mind. But at the same time, you're also answering your own messages. Your own messages will tell you to do what's best for you as well. It will tell you, okay, today I need a rest, and then you will have a rest. Okay, but there's no guilt in it. There's no guilt in it. Oh, maybe I should because this one expects. No. I made a decision. There's no guilt in it. And it's clear, and clarity is important for all of us. Clarity of mind. Sutra 5. There are 5 mental modifications which are either painful or painless. There are 5 kinds of mental modification, and they're broken down into painful and painless. Now here, Sri Patanjali is a scientist of the mind. So he's trying to make a life very easy. He said, guess what? I'm going to subdivide all your thought patterns into 5. But I'm going to make it even easier for you. Your thought patterns, notice, painful or painless. And then our Guru, Sri Swami Satchidananda, simplifies it even more. Selfish or selfless. So what does this mean? So you watch your own mind. This is when you really study your mind and your thoughts. And this is, in the beginning, it's a lot of work, right? The first 2 years, I think. After that, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier. So you study, this is a painful thought. Why is it painful? Sometimes a thought is painful and can be good. And so let me explain this because people get very confused with this sutra. So, for example, if a child is misbehaving, it is painful to tell the child off. Anybody who has children, you will know that. Or a very good friend or somebody you love. If they're doing something that you can see is not good for them, it is painful. Don't you find it painful to tell them? It's really painful to tell them. But because you are really doing it because you love them, your intention is to help them, and they're not seeing that what they're doing is painful, or selfish, they're not seeing it. So you tell them. They may get angry with you, but your thought is not about that. It's okay if they get angry with me, because your thought is, I am telling them because nobody else will tell them, and they keep hurting themselves again and again by having this behavior. And if I don't tell them because I love them, because I'm worried what is too painful and what will they think of me, that's selfish, isn't it? You really love someone and you don't want people to talk badly of them. You rather you tell them first than somebody tell them. And then you realize that it's painful, but it's beneficial to somebody else. So sometimes a painful thought can be beneficial to somebody else. Or a painful thought could be, as you all know, anger, fear, worry, right? Guilt, arrogance. Right? It's painful. Watch the body language. Sri Patanjali also talks about body language in book 3. Watch the body language. Aggression, these are all painful. How do you know painful? Just look at your own body when you're angry, when you're sad. And that's why axiom therapy, which is what I teach, truth with compassion, is I love my life. Can you say it? I love my life. Well, come on, let's do it really wide, because when you do it like this, I know it's not working. Really wide. I love my life. And you see, the chest comes out, the posture changes, everything changes. So really, your body is your best friend if you can learn to listen to it. It will tell you by the way your eyes look. Go look in the mirror. When you're depressed, go, oh, I really look like a grump. Look at the way I'm complaining all day. You know, when I first started meditation, I'll tell you, some of you already know this story. I always used to tell my husband, oh, you're so cold, you're always, you have no emotions, blah, 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 blah. And then he used to say to me, you're so emotional. And then when I started to meditate one day, I saw myself, oh, you're so negative. Oh my God. And then he's going, no, you're the one who's negative. And I'm going, no, I'm the one who studies yoga. I saw it. And I go, oh my God, who would want to be near me? Who would want to practice yoga when they see my face? They wouldn't want to be next to me. And then I had to work with my ego. This is where the ego comes in. Yeah, but what he does is wrong. He shouldn't speak to you like that. Blah, 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 blah. Ego, IQ is. No, that's ego. How do you help this ego to get to a balanced place? Admit it. So swallowing my ego, I remember this so clearly. The first time I did it, I went up to him and I said, I need to talk to you. What's wrong, Nalanie? I said, you are right. What do you mean I'm right? I'm really over emotional. And whenever I go, oh, you're so negative. You're right, you're not negative, you're just telling me the truth. Business was bad today, and I'm telling you off for telling me the truth. It was bad today. We did have a bad day, but instead of saying, I'm sorry, darling, we had a bad day. No, you're so negative, you need to be positive. I'm really sorry, I didn't realize I was using the wrong medicine. So he goes, no, darling, sometimes I can be quite hard. And I go, yeah, that is also true. That is also true. But you see, there is a letting go of the ego. So when I let go, what happens? The other person realized it's truthful, it's sincere. Didn't mean it went away immediately. Yeah, it's a practice. Because, it's very easy to be very loving to everybody who's around you. Can you do it 24 hours a day? He was my greatest teacher. Could I do it 24 hours a day? And why was he my teacher? Because if he was nasty to me, should I have taken it? No. I shouldn't have taken it because I'm not a doormat. But he wasn't nasty to me. I was too emotional. He loved me tremendously. He was trying to teach me. I couldn't hear it, but I did know. You can feel love. You can feel the love of a person. But I don't want to hear it. When I was willing to hear it, he could hear me too. He could hear me too. And that's when the transition came. For both of us. But you learn, you realize things happen to teach you. To go higher. Then you go, the plan is perfect. It's perfect. No need to do any of that nonsense now. No need for all those crazy arguments and those things, because the work is done. You've done the work. And your later life becomes better. I always say, as from 40, the age of 40, every year got better. I had more challenges than I ever had after the age of 40. But life got better because I was in connection with the divine. So just imagine, you practice this every day. How would old age be like? How will old age be like? I see so many people suffer. Old age, sickness, etc. I watched my father with cancer, old age, dying, smile every morning. Thank you. So, painful, painless. Painless thoughts. Give me some examples of painless thoughts. What's a painless thought? Anybody?
Anything when you're contemplating beauty or something lovely.
Yeah, painless, right? Yeah.
Enjoy.
And it's also selfless, right? Is it selfless? Mm-hmm. It's selfish in a way because it makes you happy, but it's selfless. There's no I want, I need in that thought. For those who are on Zoom who did not hear Michelle, she said, it's like when you're contemplating beauty. There's no self in it. It's just beautiful, right? And it's a painless thought. I want a glass of water. Painless desire, right? No problem in it. Do you see? Those thoughts that give you no problems, that's where you look at your mind. Has this thought given me a problem? Has this caused me pain? And why has it caused me pain? What is the objective behind it? Is it done in love or is it done in ego? Please look at that. If it's done in ego, correct it, because you will suffer. Action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. Step back. If you can't step back from a situation that is very, very painful, or too many people are gossiping, too many people are talking, then please take some time out. Say, I'm going away for 4 days. I'm going away. I'm giving myself a retreat. Do it. Spend time on your own. Literally. When I was married with my husband, because of the early days of practice, I used to ask him, we used to have an apartment in Calahonda, small, by the beach. And I didn't drive in Spain, so I would say to him, can you just leave me for 24 hours? He'd go home on Sunday, he'd pick me up on Monday evening. 24 hours, I'd stay in the apartment with 2 books, this one and the Gita, all day for 24 hours, because I knew I wasn't ready yet. I knew I still had to work. And those 24 hours, you reconnect again. So know that about yourself. I tell couples, I tell lots of relationships, please give yourself space. If you really love each other, let each other go away for 3 or 4 days on their own. It's really important to allow people space, to allow yourself space without guilt. It helps you to reconnect. Be on your own. It's okay. Too many thoughts, too many ideas, too many ways of thinking. Stick to one. So this is the selfish and selfless. I would like your homework this week is to really ask yourself, what thoughts cause you pain? What thoughts are painless? Just have a line across it. And those thoughts that cause you pain, Are they selfish or are they selfless? Just examine your thoughts, examine action and reaction. Look at how you react to people. What is it teaching you? If you get the same thing told to you 100 times, don't think you're right. If somebody repeats something about you that is negative 100 times, there must be something in it. There must be something in it. Examine yourself. Ego. Is your ego refusing to believe it? Are you too proud? You know, sometimes also painful situations, when they're too painful, you have to also learn when to walk away. So that's why you need to know yourself, when to stay, when to go. So it's a process. It takes time. I always tell people, don't make decisions when you are angry. You will make the wrong decision. Make a decision when you're very calm. Because then it will be divine will come to you. It will be a divine, decision. And then if you feel after that you've made the wrong decision, know it was never wrong. Because you had to take the wrong road in order to know that wasn't the road, to turn back to take the right road. Okay? So examine these situations in your life. And when you look at them, you learn a little bit more about you. And you learn a little bit more about your connection to that force, that divine, that God in you. And you realize you are never, ever, ever alone. Never alone. And that is such comfort. And you know the plan is perfect. There was a great saint, Dada Vaswani, he died a few years ago. He was wonderful, from Pune. Wonderful. And he used to come to Hong Kong a lot. He loved my dad a lot. And he used to come to the house and he always used to say, Dada, God's plan is perfect. Dada, they both would say that. It's so wonderful to watch. Because he was called Dada Vaswani. Everybody called my dad Dada. Both of them said God's plan is perfect. And you know, when you hear it again and again and again, what happens? It becomes that way. It becomes perfect. It becomes perfect. So when something goes wrong, but you know you've done the right thing, remember, the plan is perfect. Am I doing this out of selfishness or am I doing it to attain peace? My master said something really important that really changed my understanding of selfishness and not selfishness. I won't quote him 100% because I don't remember it 100%, but it's more or less like this. You cannot please everyone. So please yourself. If it is for a higher purpose, because then you will be pleasing God. Okay? If the purpose is for something higher, what is a higher purpose? You tell me. What is a higher purpose? Service.
Uniting with your
Higher self. What else is a higher purpose?
generosity.
Pardon?
Generosity.
Generosity. What else? Calmness. Love. Peace. That's a higher purpose. That's a higher purpose. You have to think of the higher purpose. Many women that are battered come to me and I said, why are you in this relationship? You're battered, your children are battered. Oh, because I'm a good wife. Are you really a good wife? Your kids are suffering. They're all self-harming. They're seeing your husband beat you up. What is a painful action? It's actually to walk away. Maybe you have to save your children, to save yourself. What's the higher purpose? Now, 4 lives are destroyed. you left, at least maybe his life, maybe he will learn. But now 4 lives are being disturbed because you don't have the courage. Your kids will never be normal again if you don't get out. Scary. I've seen this so many times. What are you fearing? And you know what it is? Security, money, house. It's always that. So you sell your peace. You sell your children's peace. You get beaten up black and blue for a house. The house is more important than your life. Do you see? How can that be? What's more important? If this is your temple, what is your duty?
To look after it.
To look after it. Does anybody have the right to break your temple? Somebody came to your house and started bringing a hammer and hitting your house. Would you allow it? You wouldn't allow it. So, sometimes so much guilt, so much, you need to be really clear. What is the purpose? What is the purpose? How can you help this person? Report him. Maybe by going to jail, he'll learn something. But by letting him hit you every day, day after day after day, how many sins are you allowing him to commit? You are allowing it. So, there's so many things, but how do you commit him in love, in compassion? Bless you, you're not well. You need to sort this out. While I'm here, I become your hitting ball or whatever I am. So I need to get out of your way so there's nothing to hit, so you can look at yourself. You see? It's selfless. But there's a lot of confusion around these things, and you really have to think a lot. Where are you in this picture? Where are you in this picture? What is your goal? What is your goal? Peace? Of course, when things are hard, it's difficult. Give yourself time, all right? Please be patient with you. That's all I ask everybody. Please be patient with you. Because if you don't love you, who will? God loves you already, but God loves those who love themselves, right? Love thy neighbor as thyself. Start with loving you, and then you can love everybody. So this is the teaching of Sutra 4 and Sutra 5. Next week we will touch the mental modifications of the mind stuff. He divides it into 5 to make it really clear for us. And then he talks about how to deal with it. Practice and non-attachment. And these are 2 very deep topics that we will spend time on.